Welcome to our channel World War II Tao. Everyone know about unknown history all.
Budapest, 1944. A cold wind drifted across the Danube as the city trembled under the stomping boots of German soldiers. The once beautiful Hungarian capital had turned into a landscape of fear. Posters screamed new laws. Jewish shops were marked. Families disappeared overnight. Mothers clutched their children as distant gunshots echoed through the streets. Inside the Spanish legation, a quiet building draped with the red and yellow flag of Spain, a young diplomat named Angel Sans Brise watched the chaos unfold from behind his office window. Only 32 years old, he carried himself with an unusual calmness, but inside, a storm was growing. He had received warnings. He had seen the roundups. But when he read the reports of mass exterminations, he knew this was no temporary political change. This was the deliberate destruction of an entire people. One early morning, while walking toward the Danube, he saw a line of Jewish families forced onto trucks. A little girl, no more than 6, looked at him with tear-filled eyes as she clutched a broken doll. That moment carved itself into his memory like a scar. That evening, he opened an old Spanish legal code from 1924. Hidden inside was a forgotten law. Spain could offer protection to Jews of Sephardic origin. Spain itself barely remembered this law, but Sans Brise had found a loophole that could save lives. He closed the book, stood up, and whispered to himself, "If I don't act now, who will?" Budapest was growing darker every day, but inside the Spanish legation, a beam of light had just been lit, one that would soon save thousands. He approached Hungarian authorities with the law, requesting permission to protect 200 Jews of Sephardic descent. He received reluctant approval. But he had no intention of stopping at 200. He instructed his staff, 200 is the number, but not the limit. Each visa number was used for entire families, then reused again and again. What was supposed to be 200 people became hundreds, then thousands. He ordered official-looking passports printed. Some were real, some forged, because he knew the clock was ticking. Every hour meant another train leaving for Auschwitz. He rented 11 safe houses across Budapest. Large Spanish flags hung over each building. To the Nazis, these houses became Spanish territory. Inside these shelters, families slept on the floor, wrapped in thin blankets. Children whispered songs to stay calm. Volunteers burned candle stubs while stamping documents. Guards watched outside, ready to confront armed soldiers. Whenever Arrow Cross officers tried to break in, Sans Brise appeared with polished shoes, a diplomatic coat, and a perfectly calm voice. These people are under the protection of Spain. One night, a group of Nazi soldiers confronted him at the door, rifles raised. Their commander shouted, "Why do you protect Jews? They are enemies." He didn't flinch. He replied gently, "I am not protecting Jews. I am upholding Spanish law." It was a brilliant lie wrapped in truth, and it kept the militia confused, irritated, and powerless. But the risk was growing. He had turned his office into a factory of salvation. Every new signature meant another threat. Every new family meant another confrontation. Still, he continued. He saved a young mother with a newborn infant. He rescued an elderly violinist who had once performed for royalty. He protected children who had lost their parents. To the people hiding behind those flags, he became the Angel of Budapest. By late 1944, the situation in Budapest reached its breaking point. Gunfire was constant. Food was disappearing. Winter froze the city like a tomb. The Soviet army was approaching from the east. The Nazi and Arrow Cross militias became even more vicious, determined to kill every Jew before the Soviets arrived. One night, Sainsbury's received a message from Spain. He must leave Budapest immediately. Neutral diplomats were no longer safe. If he stayed, he would likely be killed or captured. He packed his remaining documents, looked around his dimly lit office, and realized that thousands of lives still depended on him. He couldn't abandon them, not without a plan. In his final act of courage, he secretly appointed a successor, Giorgio Perlasca, an Italian who had posed as the new Spanish ambassador. Perlasca took Sainsbury's papers, stamps, and authority and continued the mission. On his last day in Budapest, Sainsbury's walked past one of the safe houses. Through a window, he saw the same little girl he had seen months earlier by the Danube, the girl with the broken doll. Now she waved at him through the glass. He forced himself to smile, but inside his heart was breaking. He left the city quietly, his car driving away through icy streets, the echoes of war behind him. The people he saved didn't know he was gone, and he preferred it that way. By the time the Soviets liberated Budapest, the rescue network he started had saved over 5,000 Hungarian Jews from extermination. Years later, survivors told their children about the tall Spaniard with gentle eyes. Others remembered the safe houses with Spanish flags that seemed like islands of peace in a sea of terror. In 1991, Israel honored him as a righteous among the nations, recognizing his extraordinary courage, but Angel Sainsbury's never called himself a hero. He once said softly, "I only did what I had to do." But history remembers him differently. A diplomat who defied darkness, a man who outsmarted tyranny, a beacon of hope in humanity's darkest hour. The Angel of Budapest.
Thank you for watching full video. Please like, comment, share, and never forget to subscribe our channel World War II, Tall for upcoming new videos. Goodbye for today. Talk again in a new video with new story.